Hey y'all, it's Katie and welcome back to my channel. Today we're getting into analytics and we are talking all about RoxOpt, which is a brand new analytics software just for Hyrox. So if you're the kind of person who is really into the analytics, the details, taking the splits of your race so that you can optimize your performance and your pacing to make the perfect race, this one's for you. RoxOpt is a new software that came out at the end of 2024 and it is a really great piece of software to be using for Hyrox. So personally, I've only ever done 2 Hyroxes before, so I'll jump into my second race report. If you only have 1 Hyrox under your belt, you can't have some of the comparative data that's at the end of the race report. But if you have more than 1 race, then it will compare your most recent race to your previous data. So that's the really fun thing about this report too. It's taking in multiple races into account. I'm gonna make sure to show you that second race report so you can see some of that comparative data as well. So without further ado, let's jump into the data. All right, so we're looking at the Hyrox race performance report. You're gonna open it up to this title page and then it'll show you what season 7, Houston 2025. So this was from March. This was only my second ever Hyrox event and I was 6 months postpartum at the time. This was my very first race back from pregnancy, so it's not too great. And my very first Hyrox was from 15 weeks pregnant in my second trimester. So this is not my A race. This is just for funsies. And so don't laugh at my times. I know it's long, you know, both of them were over 90 minutes. So I was just doing my best. But here we go. This just details the wall ball rule change that affects everything prior to September 2024. And they have auto adjusted that to make sure that that 75 wall balls is equivalated to that new 100 wall ball rule for open women. So this only applies to open women's races, but that's good to know that they've already adapted those times to still be comparable. So here we start with the overview. This is the all-time division percentile performances. So this is your percentile ranking. Obviously my running needs some work, but that's okay. And that's showing you all the different stations as well as your rock zone and running times. Then it shows your overall time ranks. So here, this is event specific. This is showing all-time division percentile rank and then age group percentile rank too. Then you come into race pacing. So this is just what RoxOpt thinks that your finish time would be based on your station time. And sure enough, near the end, it got much more accurate. I came out a little hot at the beginning. And then, of course, a little blurb from Rich Ryan. He is fantastic. Check out the RMR podcast if you want to. Lots of great training advice. This is performance versus predicted potential. How did you perform compared to RoxOpt pre-prediction? So obviously, like, not too hot because I was fresh postpartum here. So some of the predictions were a little bit on the lower side and I did not achieve those, but that's okay. We rocked the row and the farmer. Anyway, but that's really fun because it'll give you these numbers based on previous performances and what it knows of your previous race times and what your potential could be. Performance versus predicted potential. This is just continued another blurb from Rich Ryan about training and coaching. Then we come into running assessment. So here I did great on the pacing. I'm super proud of that. That was one of my big goals for this race was if I'm not going to rock it with time, I'm going to rock it with pacing. So that's what I did. And these are my splits for all of the running intervals. And you want those to be very streamlined and even across the top. So that's something that I was able to achieve in this race. If it's up and down, that's showing that you're not able to either clear your lactate. That's showing that you either can't do compromised running, that you burned out too fast on a station, and you weren't able to continue running after that. So we definitely want to make sure that's steady and even, showing that you took your rest time during the rock zone or found some active rest. Then running assessment. So how well did you pace? This was my previous race. So this was March 2024 and my pacing was a lot worse. So my pacing got a lot better at this race versus previous. And then here's another blurb from Ryan Kent. Last race comparison. So this is comparing it to Houston 2025 and Houston 2024. So this is adapted for the wall ball considerations as well for the female division. I did 75 wall balls here and I did 100 at this race. So that's auto adjusted here in this number. I did a lot poorer at a lot of the stations because obviously, you know, postpartum. But that's a really fun tool to use, especially if you're looking to improve certain things. Obviously, like my burpee broad jumps took a big hit. So I know to train burpee broad jumps. I know that my running and my rock zone did improve, and my farmer's carry did improve. Things like the ski and the sled and even the row was very good. Those ones were very close to similar. So I know that, okay, some of these other target areas I need improvement on. So that's a good thing to use this for. Another blurb from Rich. Then we have our split benchmark. And here, this is comparing you to the first place overall in your division. So that's the 25 to 29 females for me in the open category. Obviously, like some of my times were a little bit better with the farmer or the sled pull. Others aren't so hot. That's okay. But you can see where the difference lies and how different your splits are compared to them. So here's how different you are from the first place finisher and then the fastest split recorded by your category. So obviously like a little bit different, a little bit slower than that fastest split, especially if people come out hot from the gate. So that one not too worried about, but it shows you all of the runs and stations and the rock zone. So this is very detailed. If you want to come in here and get nitty gritty with the splits, then that's great. Another blurb, thanks Rich. Then we have our next race predicted performance range. So this gives you kind of a goal to shoot for and something to work on towards your training. So here, obviously, like my last one was an hour 38 minutes would be, where I was postpartum. Obviously, now that I'm a year out from that, I'm probably going to do better at my next race. So this is going to give me some benchmarks to reach for. And try to reduce time. So here is the probability of me hitting those times. Obviously, like I could just bomb it and do bad. I could hit in this is my most probable range to hit it in. And then I could just nail it and do fantastic. So there's some really good wiggle room there. Anyway, next predicted performance range. So here, this is some predicted ranges for the specific zone. And then we have some predicted zone paces. So here, things to shoot for. This is the excellent, great. This is my last race. So here's what to compare it to. This is kind of our benchmark, and then this is what's possible. So yeah, that's really fun to look at for pacing and figuring out what you want to do. Speaking of pacing, I think this one is super, super fun because this gives you targets to shoot for. And this is your recommended race plan and targets to reach for at your next race, some recommended splits to help you strategize and pick out your pacing, things that you can hopefully hit to achieve a really great total time of, this would be 17 minutes faster almost, and this would be almost 11 minutes faster than my previous time. So both of those would be excellent and great to hit. I would love that. So I might actually use these at my next Hyrox. And then this is a really fun one too, because this is what if I were to try the pro division race next. Here are some expected outcomes. Obviously, like probably going to be a little while. I could hit in that high range. I might hit in that middle range, wherever. But this is kind of expected if I were to try pro. So here, the running in the rock zone, this is my last race. And then the numbers have been obviously adjusted for the pro division. Then it comes into the race plan as well. So if I were doing pro, this is probably the race plan I would follow, because here you see that some of the race times are in red. That's meaning it's adding time. So you can expect on like the sled push, it's a lot heavier. So you can expect like a full extra minute on that one. Things like that are just going to take up more time because either you're more fatigued, it's heavier, it's harder, and it's just going to take more time in the zone. So then podium sim results. Obviously, my chances are amazing, right? But the podium threshold, these are the times that you will have to hit potentially to reach the podium. And this is your probability with my current stats of actually achieving those goals. So this is the specific races in season 8 that I could come out to and try to hit that goal pace and everything and try to hit podium. So if you're really into trying to reach for Hyrox Worlds and things like that, or trying to at least hit the podium, get a flag, this is one way to do that, is to check out these podium thresholds and then go to those races that have the highest probability and the highest percent chance of success. Another blurb from Ryan. Hey, hey. Then we have our race history. So, how are you trending over time? This is showing me my season 6 versus season 7 times. And you can see season 6 is in green, season 7's in blue. And I did a lot better. Season 6 I did, because that was during my second trimester. And you can see that a lot of the things were fairly similar. Some of the things I was able to hit, pretty decent. But this is all-time division age group percentile ranking. And this is limited to the last 3 races. Because of this chart, it's just hard to see. So I only have 2 races in my log. I've only done 2 women's open Hyrox races because, again, for me, they're just for fun. I'm not competitive. But if you are competitive, you'll only see the last 3 there. And then that's it for your race report. There's a lot of really great training content in here and a lot of great race splits and data for you to analyze and use for your training and use for your next race. So that's the full RoxOpt rundown. These are fairly cheaply priced too. They're typically $25, but I have a code Katie, K-A-T-I-E, you can use at checkout for 50% off. And if you use this link, I do earn a small commission, so thank you for helping me out. But you can use the code Katie regardless, it just gives you 50% off. And if you're looking to level up your training, I have 3 resources to help you. First off is my freebie, the ultimate race day packing list, so you'll never forget a race day essential again. 2 is my ebook, Race Day Ready, where we dive into race strategy, stat tracking, say that 5 times fast, stat tracking, and how to plan your race day. And the 3rd is my program, Hybrid Strength, that will prepare you for your next race or adventure. So in the comments, let me know if you've tried RoxOpt, and I'm curious to know how those predictive race pacing is when you actually put it into action. So I can't wait to try that myself at the next Hyrox I go to. But other than that, that's all I got for you today. I will see you in my next video. Bye!